Hey everyone, we're the Good Doctors of Abbey Research. I'm Dr. Erin.
I'm Dr. Kristen.
And welcome to our continuing coverage of Hallmark Christmas movies, which we will be doing through the end of the year because A, we're watching them anyway, and B, we're talking about them anyway. C, we figured we might as well record it. So, you're all very welcome to today's coverage of past Saturday's Hallmark premiere movie, Merry and Bright, starring two of our quasi-favorites. Depends on the film. Jodie Sweetin of Fuller House and Full House fame, and Andrew Walker, who is on When Calls the Heart.
Yes.
Yes, we think.
Yeah, he's a Mountie, I believe.
He looks like a Mountie. He looks like he'd be a Mountie.
He's got the neck.
Like the square kind of.
And the square head for a uniform.
Square head to wear like a strap around his.
Yeah.
We digress. Merry and Bright is not about Canadian mounted horses.
No, it's about an Ohio candy cane company.
It's about a candy cane company called Merry and Bright in Brightwell, Ohio, which is the candy cane capital of the world, which is very American. And juxtaposes our two heroes, our heroine and hero, Kate, who is the relatively newly minted CEO of her family business, and Gabe, who works for Empire Corporate Recovery, which we find out later is also a family-run business, but that was kind of a long play that was nicely done. And Gabe is brought in by the board of Merry and Bright to figure out what's going on, why they're kind of struggling as a candy cane production company, and the inevitable tension ensues between Kate and Gabe as they work themselves out. There's lots of Hallmark holiday tropes in there. There's baking, and there's baking presents, and there's a tree lighting ceremony, and there's lots of fake cups of hot chocolate.
Oh my God.
I think my favorite one was when they were at the tree lighting ceremony, and he handed her one, and it was like the lightest. I was like, there is nothing in that cup.
Literally nothing. Yeah,
there is foam in that cup.
Yeah, I kept getting pulled out of it whenever they were in the factory too.
Yeah.
So I run my family runs a manufacturing company, our viewers may or may not know. And I just kept my husband and I both kept screaming at the screen, "This is not good manufacturing practice!
Yeah.
Where were your hairnets?"
There were no hairnets, there were no glasses, there were no hard hats. I was like,
Here's what I need you guys to all know. The FDA would shut down Merry and Bright so fast their head would spin.
We hate to burst that Hallmark bubble, but
when she just reached over without gloves and picked up the product, I actually cringed.
That's amazing. I totally didn't think of that, even though I am in our manufacturing plant once a month.
But still, it was like...
yeah, and eventually they get together at the end through some ups and downs. I thought some parts of it were interesting. I liked this idea of kind of an identity crisis of Kate needing to figure out who she was and how she wanted to run the company. And why it took her so long to realize she should just make the frickin' candy canes in her grandma's cookbook. I wrote in my notes in all caps, use the cookbook. But she got there in the end. But even right at the end when her and Gabe kind of had their falling out and she was like, "I thought you knew me," I didn't really feel that was significant.
I also there was a couple things too where so we had two side plots that were useless.
Yeah, one of them was cute but too long, and the other one was just annoying.
Yeah, and I understand they probably wanted Sharon Lawrence to have something to do, but
right, because she's actually
the dog isn't. So if we had spent some more time talking about she upended her entire life.
Yeah.
To come back, explore that. I want to hear more about that. I resonate with that as the second generation of a company. There was a lot of things that she could have said where I was like, and
anything? No.
And what it just ended up being was innocuous.
Yeah, we discussed it offline. Let us know if you feel differently. I don't know. I don't feel like they had romantic chemistry.
No.
Friend chemistry, 100%. I buy them as friends. There were some scenes that were really cute together. He went to open the door for her, and her door was still locked. but like that could have insert any two actors into that scene and it would have been a cute scene. Even at the end, I was just I didn't feel it from the two of them.
No.
And I think because there was no, like, even in the moments when they were supposed to be vulnerable, they still looked like they were acting.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because Jodie Sweetin's been around so long. I look at her and I see Jodie Sweetin. Like, it's really hard for me to, like, other actors.
Yeah, like when they did the childhood pictures of her, I was like, oh, it's Stephanie Tanner.
Yeah. So, like, I was thinking about this weekend because I saw an interview with Jennifer Aniston. And I really want to see the new show that she's in with Reese Witherspoon, but I'm also really afraid that it's just going to be Rachel and or Jennifer Aniston. Because I think she's always the same no matter what she does, except for like maybe when she was in The Good Girl with Jake Gyllenhaal, I felt like that stretched Jennifer Aniston. But I feel
film,
like...
by the way.
What?
It's a good film, everybody.
It is a good film. But I feel like Jodie Sweetin is just always Jodie Sweetin, and Andrew Walker is always Andrew Walker, and he's charming and he's really, really pretty to look at. And sometimes he has chemistry with the women he's acting with, and sometimes he doesn't.
Like, he's affable.
Yeah,
fine.
I love that word, affable.
And like, maybe I hated the plot with her best friend. I know we talked offline, you did too.
Terrible.
Like, use your words. If you've been dating this man for 2 years and you're afraid he's buying you a mountain bike, just flat out say. I mean, now I am the girl who, like, 3 months into a relationship, sat my boyfriend down and was like, hi, I need labels for my anxiety disorder.
Yeah.
You have the next 3 weeks to decide what I am.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand I'm a little bit like, but 2 years? Just say you want to get married.
3 years. 3 years. This was their 4th Christmas.
No, just say you want to get married, child. Just use your words.
And it was so weird. It was like 2 different writers wrote. Yeah. So, like, the writers that were writing dialogue between Kate and Gabe, it was like super adult conversations. There was no tropes. There was no like
misunderstandings.
Like there were, but they were resolved really quickly. There were no like great revelations or secret boyfriends or like all the other kind of tropes that they rely on. They were all really mature conversations. And then the other main romance story was like passing notes in 5th grade level. And I was like, it was like whiplash, like narrative whiplash. I was like, oh. And I was just frustrated with Sophie. I was like, use your words, girl. Use your words.
Yeah, I was out on her pretty quick because of that.
Yeah. So overall, like, I was still entertained.
Like, I would say 3 candy canes out of 5.
I would say 3 out of 5. We did not get bingo.
No.
Which we both agreed was, like, right. I would have felt weird if we got bingo.
Like, last week is a bingo winner.
Yeah, we were close. We had 4 or 5 on one of the rows. But also I'm a little nervous about, because this is the 2nd premiere in a row last week's worked. This week's not so much, where they've taken out a lot of their tried and true tropes. And I'm all for like evolving and growing with more believable romances. But like, you need to create tension in order for us to believe like the happily ever after. And I never believed they were at risk.
Oh no. And I think too, like the tropes they're taking out are not the ones that bothered me. Like right. the ones that I want them to take out are like, there's like, you don't kiss until the end. They never talk about sex. They don't flirt.
Yeah.
There's no people of color or ethnic diversity. Like, those are the things I wanted them to take out. They're not taking those out. They're like, I wanted holidays besides Christmas. Like,
this was a super white movie.
Holy cow. Was it a white movie? Yeah.
Super. The only people of color I saw were in the background shots at the holiday festival and the tree lighting festival.
Yeah. So like the tropes that, like, I mean, I read romance novels and fan fiction. Like, I love tropes. You love tropes. Tropes are great because they create structure around our expectations.
Yeah.
This, like, I knew they were going to be okay for moment 12.
Yeah. So then it's just kind of like slightly not fizzy Coke. Like, you still drink it because you're thirsty, but it's missing that punch.
So like, I have a ranking of these kind of movies based on the activities I do while I'm watching them.
What were you doing while you watched this?
I was like reading another story.
Yeah.
So like, if I think it's cute and adorable, I might be on Twitter. I may be playing 2 dots, but like, I'm not doing anything that actually requires attention.
Mm-hmm.
If it's this movie, I think I was like editing something for a friend, reading something else. Like, it didn't catch me, and I didn't care.
No. By the end, I was like, oh. And then I thought, like, it was interesting that they gave us an epilogue, because that doesn't always happen.
I did like that.
I love a good epilogue, but it was really funny because I was super cheesy with like the voiceover, and then my brother walked by and he was like, aren't Hallmark endings supposed to be cheesy? And I was like, yes. But this one I was just like, oh. And then we all lived. It felt really forced, and maybe that's because I didn't buy the happily ever after. That it was like, and then everything was amazing.
Yeah, I think everything was amazing. We didn't struggle in business anymore. Everything was fantastic. Oh, and look, he's going to propose on the most stereotypical day of the year. The second most stereotypical day of the year. Like when she said there's no better time to get engaged than Christmas, my husband and I looked at each other and said, literally any other time.
Any other time. And she just kept saying it. And I was like, oh, cool. If you believe this, talking about Sophie, then like, why haven't you had this conversation with your boyfriend of 3 years? So mildly frustrated at some of the side plots, but overall it was just kind of like, all right. I didn't hate that I watched it.
No, I mean, inevitably it will come on again when I'm in a hotel in the next couple weeks, and I'll leave it on.
But a pretty significant letdown from last week's joy of joys.
And next week's, I think it's going to be...
Speaking of, what's going to happen on the Hallmark roller coaster?
So next week is Picture a Perfect Christmas with Merritt Patterson, who viewers may know from Pretty Little Liars and The Royals.
We do like Merritt.
She's been in a couple other Hallmark movies. And then John Core, who I have never seen in anything, but IMDb informs me is in Shadowhunters, The Mortal Instruments.
Yes!
He plays Hodge.
He was Hodge! Yes, I watched that show, viewers. Kristen did not. I knew his face. His beard in the previews for this makes me super nervous because it looks real fake. Yeah, he was Hodge in the Shadowhunters. I think he's been in another Hallmark movie because I think I had this exact same realization. Shocking the first time as it was the second time. So I don't know if that bodes well that he's that forgettable. He wasn't a main character, I should say. Hodge wasn't around for that long in terms of the Shadowhunters show. So
okay.
Still, I feel like this deja vu that I have had this before.
Probably. I mean, and also like famous attention to detail, both of us in pop culture stuff. So like we're routinely delightfully surprised.
Multiple times.
So what we're getting is Merritt plays an extreme sports photographer who comes home to take care of her grandmother around the holidays and ends up helping her grandmother's neighbor with his nephew.
Nice. I think
we're getting like a single parent-ish trope. We're getting, doting family members. We're getting probably hates Christmas and now has to deal with it. So there's some potential here.
I think there's potential tropes. We could go for a supernatural element in this one.
Ooh, maybe there will be a secret angel.
Maybe there's a secret angel. We definitely haven't had enough Spirit of Christmas plot points. Like, it was sort of ishy in this one because he, had this idea of what Christmas was and had never really felt home before. But they didn't hammer home the Christmas on that. They really could have gone super Christmassy on that, and they were just like, meh.
Yeah, and it was a little bit weird when we first learned about it because I thought he was talking to his boss and not his mother.
Yeah, me too.
And I was this is a company without boundaries.
Yeah, I don't know why that was a slow reveal, but it felt weird to me because all of their conversations were awkward until,
oh, this is my mom.
And then I was like, oh, that's why she talks to him in a vaguely inappropriate way for a superior. I was like, oh, okay, maybe he's been there a really long time.
Yeah, like maybe she's very maternal towards him because he doesn't have a mother. Oh, look, no.
It is his mother. Yeah, it was a weird, delayed reveal.
Pacing was strange in this movie. Pacing was strange.
Yeah, but I do have to say, though, and I'm sure you did the same thing, one of my favorite moments was when he said, you can't win if you don't play. because then I immediately started singing The Room Where It Happens.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
Yeah. Which has now been stuck in my head since then.
Head in the game. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But you don't get a win unless you play in the game. Yes. Sorry, Hamilton reference, folks. You knew it was going to happen. It's been probably 3 weeks since we've made one, so.
We let you take a breath, guys.
We live and breathe it, so you're welcome. And on that note.
Yeah, about to say, that's all we got.
I don't have anything. I think we should end on Hamilton because that's a joyous thing to end on. But we'll be back next week with our review of Picture a Perfect Christmas.
And until then, we wish you a Hallmark-filled happily ever after, whatever it looks like this week for you. I'm Dr. Kristen.
I'm Dr. Erin.
And we'll see you next week. Bye.